All right. It looks like we are live now on Facebook and YouTube. And I am here today in the Barbara Talks Business podcast every Tuesday at 2. Today, I have a pretty awesome guest that I'm excited to introduce you to. But before we get to that, I just want to make sure everybody knows who I am. I'm Barbara Carr with Fuse Empire, and I am here to give you tools, tips, and training to grow your business. So if that's something that you're interested in, you'll want to look for our Facebook group called Tools, Tips, and Training to Grow Your Business. Follow us on YouTube at Fuse Empire and get access to all these videos that we're doing exclusively for this group. As we are doing this interview with Jonathan, there are going to be people watching the live stream comments. So if you have questions that you'd like to ask while Jonathan's on the line, feel free to ask those questions. Okay, so today I have Jonathan Smith from Integrity Design Studios. Jonathan, I'm going to give a little bit of a bio of you before I bring you on. I'm going to tell a little bit about you, and then I'll let you kind of add to that, okay?
All right.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about how you can implement what you can implement right now so that your business can see quick and sustainable growth. Jonathan first started his business when he was a teenager. His dad was a business owner, and that gave him the drive to start doing things for himself also. While growing up in his dad's construction company, Jonathan also learned everything he could about technology as a result of his love for computers and gadgets. He started his marketing company a few years after high school graduation, after he was scammed out of thousands of dollars from a reputable marketing company. Jonathan began building simple websites for his friends. He rebranded his company as Integrity Designs in 2016, and then in 2017, he expanded it from just websites to every type of digital marketing solution imaginable. Today, he has over 300 people in fulfillment and in technology development. Integrity systems have now helped over 1.3 million small and medium-sized businesses. And I've known Jonathan for a short time now, but I've been very impressed with the things that he's been able to show to me. As you heard, he's also in marketing, just as I am. Many people would be like, why would you bring your competitor on your podcast? I don't see Jonathan as a competitor, and I don't think he sees me as one either. We collaborate with one another. Those people who are smart in business collaborate with people who do the same thing as them. They don't compete. There's enough business for us all out there. So Jonathan, that was a little bit about your background and your business, but tell us, who are you today as a person? Who's Jonathan?
Well, that's quite a question, isn't it? Who am I? There's a lot of things that I love. I love where I live. I love my family, and that to me is primary before business. We've been able to be fortunate to grow a business and be in business, but at the end of the day, that could disappear tomorrow. That would be fine, as long as we have what's important. My wife and my kids are running around outside somewhere right now, and that's a whole lot more important to me than business. But so those kind of things come first. And that's really kind of the way I look at things. But.
Good, because actually it's very similar to how I run things. My viewers know that I do faith, family, then career. All of them are important to me at each of their levels, but I've got to keep them prioritized. And so I always like being on the call with other people who also prioritize what's important in life, because at the end of the day, we can do all these great things, but what are people going to remember about us when we leave this world, right? And it's probably not going to be the business that you did. And so it's probably going to be the impact you made on your family and your community, and the way that you made people feel, which possibly might come from doing business with them. But
in a secondary, that's all about relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so Jonathan, your company, I know that you guys offer a lot of digital marketing things, but some of the
Yeah.
things that I know specifically that you offer is reputation management, SEO, website design and development, digital advertising, content creation, and many other digital marketing services. So we'll talk about some of those today. But before we jump into that, tell us a little bit more about, we heard your background of how you got started and how all this came about, but have you had any struggles over the years that you've had to overcome that you can give us tips on in case we come across those?
Well, sure. In business, no matter what you're in, it's boy, just getting off the ground sometimes. Like I've had 3 or 4 businesses in my life, and getting each one started. How do you really get it off the ground? How do you find people that, especially, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, I started when I was a teenager. Okay, so why in the world would anybody trust a teenager or someone that's just out of high school, someone that's in college, someone that's just graduated from college? Why would they trust anything like that to me? And so that, for me, that's been a struggle all along the way, is because I am young. And so, what do I have that someone else wouldn't have? But being able, I think, and one of the big things that I that is important to me in business, of course, first and foremost, our business name is integrity, and that's for a reason. And I think before anything, that really is a reason. If someone can see that there is integrity there, that there is honesty, and trying to do what's right and treat them right, well, then yeah, that's going to solve that problem. But along with that, just taking everything that's done and making it sharp, putting care and thought into it, really goes a long way. So our proposals, if I send somebody a proposal, it's sharp looking, and we make sure to make that a big point, to be able to make that first impression. First impressions are everything, and so that to me is one of the helps that I have found for getting over some from that beginning hurdle. But so
And I really appreciate the way that you see that and the way that you are, integrity is important to you, relationships are important to you. And I know that one of the big things that I came to know you about was reputation. So
yeah.
you talk a lot about reputation, why reputation is important, how reputation affects your income, common misconceptions about reputation, a roadmap to how integrity works with clients to make your reputation better, right? And so you focus a lot on reputation. Tell us a little bit about why that's become one of your focuses.
So really, in no matter what business, really, even outside of business, or we're talking about relationships, we're talking about people. So why would, outside of the business world, why would anyone even want to talk to me about anything, about life in general? So I have a thought about something. A friend who knows me talks to one of their friends and says, "Hey, he's got something that might help you," just as a life tip or anything. Personal recommendation. The reputation of being honest, the reputation of being sound, all that kind of thing outside of business. So then, when it comes to business, reputation is it's paramount, because you can go. A lot of people think, so if I throw money at advertising, all right, so like Google ads or Facebook ads or any kind of advertising, SEO, billboards, websites, radio, TV, anything like that. The common thinking is, if I throw money at this, people will see that and come to me and do business with me. That's not the way it works. So you do that, and that drives people to generally a search, and then they look at all of the people that do that, and they start picking apart reputation. And so reputation, I believe, and from what I have seen, and what we have found, is reputation is the building block. It's the bottom of the pyramid, if you will, the advertising pyramid, marketing pyramid. It's the foundation. And so everything, you build your website off that reputation. You do your SEO off that reputation, your Facebook and social campaigns, your Google AdWords, all of that stuff. Even the outlying type of advertising like TV and radio has to be built. You're wasting your time, wasting your money if it's not on that platform of a solid, good reputation. Otherwise, you are spending money to help, in that case, the competitor. And so you're going to be driving that traffic somewhere else. So.
Okay. And I totally get that. And I have people that I know that there's people that you meet that you just can't help but love them, right? Their personality, and they're so trustworthy, and just can't help but really adore them. And then there's people you meet that sometimes they come off the wrong way, and maybe they're not intending to, but you kind of just get like thrown back, or you're very confused. And then there's the people who they're on both sides. They either have people who love them or hate them, and there's no in between, right? And so I always wonder how that affects people in business, because I know that in life it has to be it's got to be really hard to be one of those people who have either love or hate relationship, nothing in between, or people who may come off wrong. I'd like to think that I'm really likable, and that when people meet me, they just can't help but love me. But I've got a lot of raving fans, but those are the people I like to do business with. Are the other people that when I meet them, they're just a joy to be around, and they're true on their word, right? If they say they're going to do A, they're going to do A, right? And if they run into a problem, they're honest with me about it.
Absolutely.
And that's the way I try to run my business as well. So I totally get how reputation can really make or break a lot of areas of your life, including your income.
Sure. Absolutely. That's exactly right.
So Jonathan, when you and I first met, you shared with me what you call your reputation report card.
Yes.
And it was very comprehensive. And I was very impressed by it, right? As somebody who's also in the digital marketing industry, I was like, man, this dude knows his stuff. This is really impressive. And so I want you to tell my people about that. Give them just like a little a teaser. Don't give them everything, because I want them to come to you directly. Tell them a little bit about that.
Sure. So, what we do is we take our systems go through, and for a company, any business, anybody that wants a reputation report card. And that almost can sound negative. You think about the report card in school. Boy, sometimes you just, I don't know if I want to see that report card when we were in school. But when it comes to business, we need to have our eyes open and see, okay, what are my weak points? And so really that's what we try to do, is give an honest, you knocked it out of the park in this area, but you're really struggling over here. And reputation is one of those things that there's a lot to it. People don't realize that. When people think about reputation, and when people think about reviews, they think usually about Google. Well, and rightfully so. Google is king. But there's more to it than Google. And one of the things that I mentioned to you that most people don't know is that because everybody wants to be in first page of Google, well, 15% of the weight of how Google determines where you're at is based on those reviews. And so Google doesn't just look at their own reviews. It's important to have a balance. And so, there's Google, there's Better Business Bureau, there's Yelp, there's Yellow Pages, there's a whole host of other industry specific. And that's what a lot of people miss, is that there's hundreds of industry specific, very, very niche, very specified review sites that really they need to have. And so our reputation report card goes through and hopefully is able to find reviews that people have left that the business owner didn't even know that they had. And also to be able to point out, hey, you're lacking here, but you really need to have it. And to try to create a marketing, reputation wise, a marketing plan for how to go about attacking this reputation problem. Even if they have a great reputation, how spread out is it? Let's see where we can make it better. If you've got 500 Google reviews, that's great. But let's see how we can make that even better.
And everyone, if you're watching this, if you have questions on that, make sure you put it in the comments, because Jonathan, he's here to answer your questions. But I know when Jonathan and I spoke, he actually went and looked at all my reviews that I had, and he was able to show me things, and some
Yeah.
that were really old, and he was able to say, like, you've got some really good reviews, but look at how old a lot of these are. Like, you need newer reviews.
Right.
And that prompted me to ask for reviews, and it prompted me to even put a review button on my website. And so talking to Jonathan really prompted me to do some things that that you just don't think about doing until you talk to somebody who's an expert in that field. And like I said, even somebody who's also in the digital marketing industry. Google's not one of the places we specifically focus on. We're more specific on websites and social media, which all do tie into Google in a way. But and when we do an online presence analysis, then I'll just say that Jonathan's comprehensive report card is definitely worth doing. If you have not done that, if you don't know Jonathan yet, in a moment I'm going to have him give his contact information so that you could reach out. He'll give you good information, he'll give you good tips, and then their company obviously also has a solution to help you manage those reviews and other things as well, if that's something that you need. But like I said, I see a lot of value in what Jonathan offers and what his company does, which is why he's on the podcast here. But Jonathan, before I have you give them access to that and your contact information, if somebody's wondering right now, like, well, how do I know if I have reviews, or how do I know what people are saying about me? What tip would you give them? What's an action step they could take right now?
Google yourself.
Okay.
Honestly, just go Google yourself. Google the business name, and see what comes up. Business name and zip code. Google your phone number, and see what comes up there. And try to get that. So if you have a Google listing, it'll come up there, and Google listing is important. But then it will show you any kind of any ranking or I guess tied in claimed listings, for instance, like social media or anything like that. Generally, those will be right in there as well. So you're able to see, of course, your Google rating, but any listing that is there that has a star underneath it, you'll be able to see that and see those extra sites that have that. And I would just say, the title that that you gave at the very beginning was things that can be done now to kind of jumpstart some things. I can't remember the exact wording, but what is I think I have a tab up here that's making some noise. What is what's the point? How helpful really is that? Well, I would say that we had a client that used our systems, and it was a pest control management. Well, he got, I think it was 25. It was 25 new leads from just reviews. Actually, it was specifically Yelp, in 1 month. The month that our system started working for him, 25 new leads, and every single one of those turned into clients for him. And so, I mean, that's one of our best success stories, within the first month of our system jumping on for him. That wow, 25 new clients, and he's a service-based company, so that's recurring for him. But this. I only say that to say, whether it's us or another company or whoever it is, just for your business, reviews make a huge difference. Like, with my dad, I can't tell you, and with his roofing company, we work with him for his reviews. I can't tell you how many customers that he gets to say, well, I'll tell you, the reason that we went with you is because you have a great reputation. So again, whatever you can do, like you said, you started asking for reviews. Fantastic. Do whatever you have to do to start getting those things in there. And of course, the service has to back it up. You got to have good service to get good reviews. So
Of course. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So if somebody were to go Google themselves now and they realize, oh my, I don't have any reviews, or, oh, I have bad reviews that I didn't even know was out there, what are some things that they can do?
First thing, if you have bad reviews, respond to it. A lot of people think, well, I got a bad review, I'm just gonna put the blinders on and not deal with it. That's the worst thing you can do. When you get a bad review, if you get a bad review, um, you've got to respond to that publicly. If it's on Google, if it's on Facebook, Yelp, whatever, they always give you an avenue, a way to be able to respond to that review. And what that does is it shows the prospective customers that are searching you that, hey, this business does care about customer service. So somebody had a bad experience. Who hasn't anywhere you go? And so, that's just going to happen. So when that happens, how do they respond? Well, they want to make it right. Well, they really went out of their way, and either this person responded, the customer who left the bad review responded well and they sorted it out, or the customer who left the bad review decided he just wanted to be nasty anyway, but that business did what they could. And that takes what could be a bad situation and makes it into a better one. But if there's no reviews, then you're at the ground floor, easy to make a difference. You don't have a negative reputation to overcome. You just have no reputation. And so just start asking, start talking to current clients, past clients, and anybody that can vouch for how you do business, and see where you can go.
Awesome. So as people are looking for these reviews, you've mentioned a couple of sites already that they should focus on, right? Of course, there's the big ones: Google, Facebook, LinkedIn. You mentioned Yelp a couple times. Are there any other platforms that people should really be focusing on getting reviews on?
Yeah. So the big three are Yelp, Facebook, and Google. Okay, those are the main ones that people need to focus on. Prioritize those. Aside from that, then you've got ones like Yellow Pages. That's a big one. Even these aren't as big, but they're not so targeted that they still have a broad reach. City Search is a good one. Foursquare, that's one that's I would say a minor but not super targeted. Judy's Book is again a minor one but not super targeted. But then you get into some other ones, depending on your industry. Of course, Better Business Bureau, that's also one that's big, that's across the board, no matter what kind of your business. But you start getting into some, and I'm looking right now at a whole long list of specific ones here that depends on your industry. But those I would say are the big ones that most any business can focus on. So
Okay, great. And so now people are going to Google themselves, and then they're going to ask some of their clients or past clients for reviews. And when they really want to take their reputation management to the next level and reach out to you, what is the best way for them to contact you, even for your free comprehensive reputation report card? What's the best contact?
Yeah, probably one of the easiest ways would be my email, jsmith at integritydesignstudios.com. But through our website, that can work as well. I'm on LinkedIn, which is where you and I met. I'm there. There's several different ways. I think my phone number is on our website, I'm pretty sure. And so anything like that, just shoot me a quick contact, and we'll get it sorted and see what we can do to help.
Awesome. And so, Jonathan, I want to actually piggyback off. You just kind of just threw in there that you and I met on LinkedIn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I have a lot of people, I do a lot of training on social media, and a lot of people, one of their objections is, well, does LinkedIn actually work? right? Well, here you guys are seeing Jonathan and I literally met on LinkedIn, and now he's on my podcast, and now he may end up getting clients from this, right? So does LinkedIn actually work? Yes, of course it does. Jonathan, I think I left a review for you on LinkedIn after we had our call too, didn't I?
Yes.
Yes. And so again, he put a good impression on me. I left a positive review for him. That was an easy way to do business and to get exposure on LinkedIn and to get a new connection, a possible lead, right? Possible number of leads, because if I enjoy what Jonathan does, I'm going to tell my friends about it, right? Which is what I'm doing here on the podcast. And so does LinkedIn work? It sure does, you guys. You're seeing it in action right now. Jonathan and I met on LinkedIn.
And I would just insert there, if I may, no matter what kind of business you are. So we're both in marketing. Well, LinkedIn is fantastic. I've done other types of marketing that wasn't digital, where I was door to door in my business there, and then I got on LinkedIn. Well, the people who put a secretary, out there to stop you from contacting them, just open up on LinkedIn. So for business to business, it's a gold mine because everybody wants to talk on LinkedIn. But even business to consumer, you can make connections with people. Every business owner is still a consumer. And so LinkedIn has been huge for me. And I've seen lots of clients throughout the businesses that I've run on LinkedIn. I wouldn't trade LinkedIn for the world. It's fantastic.
I agree. I've also had a lot of business connections start on LinkedIn, lots of new clients from LinkedIn, and I've even been able to take advantage of new programs on LinkedIn. In fact, the CRM system that we're using currently came from me meeting somebody on LinkedIn, and he told me about this program, and I'm like, oh, I've got to learn more about it. And so we started using a new CRM system, and actually he'll be on the podcast in a couple weeks too. But it's really cool because these relationships have started with LinkedIn, and they grow from things like this, right? And the reputation, like you mentioned, and all of this stuff really is important, but it does take work, right? It took work for Jonathan to reach out to me, right? And then for me to respond to the message that he sent to me. All of that takes work. It doesn't just, you don't just create a LinkedIn account or any account and then expect business to come to you, right? You've got to put in some time to build the relationships.
Absolutely.
Great. So, Jonathan, before we get off here, it doesn't look like there's any questions in the chat yet, but I'm going to give them one last question and one last chance. If anyone has questions, post them in the chat here. But Jonathan, is there anything we didn't talk about that you do want to mention before we get off of here?
Oh boy, I don't think so. Other than I would just leave with maybe a couple stats, if that's okay, about some of the things that I shared with you. A couple stats on reputation, and a lot of people don't realize. 95%. These are things, statistics that we've run and studies that we've done and found. 95% of people search for businesses online. I do it. I did today. And
especially now during COVID, right?
Absolutely. 91%, so almost the same number, read online reviews about local business. So that's geared toward the person who says, you know what, word of mouth is fine. I don't need online reputation. I need reputation, just mouth to mouth to mouth people. 91% of people read online reviews. Most people look at 2 or more review sites before they make a decision. That's why it's important to have a balance, not be top heavy on Google, but to have other places like those other BBB, different things that I mentioned there. And then 84% of people trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. That's a staggering stat, but it's true. It does matter. People that they have never met, they trust their word. And then the last one there, 73, and you mentioned this, Barbara, a few minutes ago. 73% of consumers think that reviews that are older than 3 months are no longer relevant. And so, hey, I've got reviews, great. So I'm all set, right? No. If they're not fresh, if there's 6 months ago, a year ago, I ran a report actually for a salon this morning, and a salon in Wichita, Kansas. Well, they have some reviews from 2 years ago, and there's other salons that have over 100 reviews in the same, just within a mile, that are actually, recent. We have a certain way that we estimate how much money they're losing in the course of a year, which is a neat report there as well. If anybody wants to see how much money you're losing to a competitor by your reviews, contact us on that. But how much money are they losing because of stale reviews? People pass right on by. So it's important to have those fresh.
Jonathan, do you have any tips on how you can get people to leave a review that's not just generic, like, oh yeah, Barbara's great, I love her, right? Like, to be more specific?
Yeah. So, if you have, when you ask, it's all about the presentation of how you ask. So, when we ask, one of the things that we do when we deal with a client that we're going to work on their behalf for their reputation is we will find out, okay, what are some specifics that kind of are your specialty that we can ask them to review about. Okay. So, a lawn care company specializes in, I don't know, making super green grass, specializes in their fertilizing. All right. So we can ask them to go kind of in detail about how they did that, or they specialize in the details of the trimming. So ask them to leave review about that specifically. Again, it's all about presentation. So when you put out there for your business and ask people to leave reviews, be specific with them. Say, hey, this is something we're really working on in our company. How'd we do? Don't just say, hey, can you leave me a review? We've been, over the last year, we've been really trying to work on, the cleanliness of our store, or the cleanliness of our, I've got nail salon on my brain because I did one this morning. The cleanliness of our salon, or, how specific we were on that. I don't really even know what shellac is, but I've heard my wife say it. And so we really work on making that really good, however that works. And so, can you review us on what we've been working on? And so that can make it a whole lot more targeted, a lot more specified, rather than just, like you said, oh, we love it, it's great.
Okay, that's very good advice. Now, one other thing I want to bring up, because I know we just told people to ask for reviews. What is your take on, let's say I have 20 people in mind that I want to ask for a review right now. Should I go ask all 20 of them today?
No. If you can keep it to between 5 and 10 a month, 10 a month would be good. To start out, so that, especially if you have no reviews, if you've already got a presence, then 20 people, that's no problem. But if you don't have a presence there, just start out a couple a week, so that you don't get a bunch right now and then have them be stale for a little bit, and go a few months without them. So spread them out to where, again, especially if you've got negative presence or no presence in your review reputation, spread them out just to a couple a week, and that'll really be, and again, spread out where you ask them to leave the review. And so, yeah, that I would say to spread those out like that.
All right, awesome. Thanks for those tips, Jonathan. It still doesn't look like we have any questions in here. You must be answering things perfectly. Nobody has any questions, or they're just eager to contact you to get their free report card. So I put your email address in the chat. And I put your website in the description of the video, but I'll put that in the chat as well so that people have access to that. I really hope people reach out to you. If they don't, they're missing out and they're losing a lot of possibility in their business. So Jonathan, I know that you'll take really good care of anybody who reaches out to you from this call. And I know you take care of anybody, even if it wasn't from this call, but I am confident that you'll take care of my fans. And if you are out there watching and you already know, love, and trust me, then I would recommend that you reach out to Jonathan as well, because he has some extra enhancements that he can help you do in your business. And you'll want to know about those. Thank you so much for your time, Jonathan.
Absolutely. Anytime.